Welcome to the Mind Fug Podcast. Yay! welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for taking time out to hang out with me. I am uber grateful. My name is wonu Alishi, and sometimes I do go by Amazing Soul. Welcome again to the Mind Fog Podcast. FCK stands for fun, compassion, and kindness. And on the Mind Fog Podcast, we usually talk about how we can safely regulate our nervous system by creating trust between our brain, our bodies, and also trying to find simple, fun loving ways to reconnect with our inner child. And we have like a mini tradition that we do on the show right before we start the actual podcast for today. And it's a list that I always read out that I titled Reminders to Being Human. And the intention behind reading that list all the time is to remind myself, but also in the hopes to remind you on your journey. All right. Reminders to being human. Have fun along the journey. Show yourself compassion. Be kind to others. Being complex and being simple can hold true in the same breath. Stay curious. Hold space for pauses. Hold space for not knowing. Never underestimate the power of silence. Nature has a lot of wisdom. Pay attention. There is power in we than I. If nothing else makes sense, come back to love. Pain is our greatest teacher. And the very last one, never underestimate your ripple of existence. Welcome once again, my friend. Now let's get into the fun part of the show. All right. Hey, so I want you to imagine something with me for a second, right? It's early in the morning, your alarm goes off, you reach out for your phone, and before you even sit up, there's already this feeling in your chest. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's just there. I mean, a tightness, a quiet heaviness, like your body is tired even before the day starts. And you just lie down there thinking, why does everything feel off lately? I want you to talk about that feeling with you today. The one where you wake up and you don't quite feel like yourself anymore, but you also don't know who you are becoming either. And at the same time, your body doesn't feel like a safe place to be. Because this doesn't usually happen all at once. It's very subtle. I mean, it shows up in small everyday moments, like when you're brushing your teeth, looking at yourself in the mirror, and something feels unfamiliar. Not on your face, not your face, but the energy behind what you're feeling. Or you're in a conversation with someone you love and you hear yourself responding, but it doesn't feel like you're talking. It feels automatic, it feels distant, almost like you're watching yourself from the outside. right? And then your mind start asking questions like, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel like this? Or did I lose myself? I'll tell you this, my friend, I've been there. And I want to share a very real moment with you. You know, there was a time in my life where after I transitioned out of the army, where when everything in my life literally slowed down, and on the outside, it looked like freedom. I mean, there was no strict schedule, there was no early morning formation for me, there was no constant pressure. But inside my body, it didn't feel like freedom. It literally felt like there was something missing. And I remember one very specific night, I was laying in my bed and the lights were off and the phone was in my hand and I was scrolling on my phone, but I wasn't really seeing anything as I was scrolling. And I just paused and I felt this wave in my chest. It was tight, it was heavy, almost like anxiety, but not exactly. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't feel like myself. But then another thought came right after. I don't even know what myself feels like anymore. And in that moment, that part, that confusion, that's the part people don't really talk about anymore. Because when you don't recognize yourself anymore, your first instinct, logical instinct, is to fix it. You start trying things. Maybe you change your routine. Maybe you wake up earlier. Maybe you even start journaling, or maybe you even work out more. Or maybe you do the complete opposite, right? You start avoiding things, you cancel plans with your friend, you stay in your bed longer, or you simply disconnect. For me on my journey, I did both. I mean, there were days where I tried to get my life together, and there were days where I didn't even want to get out of the bed. And both feelings felt very exhausting. But here's the part I didn't understand at the time. It wasn't that I lost myself, it was that my body didn't feel safe anymore. And when your body doesn't feel safe, everything starts to feel unfamiliar, even you. Now, let me bring this into a very normal, everyday moment. You know, when you're in the grocery store and you're just walking through the aisle, and suddenly you feel overstimulated. I mean, the lights feel too bright, sounds feel too loud. You can't even decide what you want to eat in that moment. And you just stand there thinking to yourself, why is this so hard right now? I will tell you this, my friend, that's not you losing yourself. That's your body saying, I don't feel safe and I need support. I'll give you another example. You're texting someone back and you read their message like 3 or 4 times, and for some odd reason, you don't know how to respond to that text message. It's not because you don't have the words, no, but because nothing in that moment feels right. So what happens is you either overthink it or you don't even respond to the text message at all. And then later you start to feel guilty. Again, that's not you becoming a different person, my friend. That's your system trying to find internal stability. And this is what I wish someone had told me early on in my journey. When your body doesn't feel safe enough, your identity starts to feel unstable. Because we don't just think who we are, we feel who we are. And if the feeling underneath is shaky, everything built on top of it feels shaky too, right? You know, there was another moment I remember very clearly in my life. I was out with my friends, I mean, amazing people, people I cared about, and we were all laughing, right? But inside of me, I felt disconnected. Like I was physically there, but I wasn't fully there. I wasn't fully present. And I remember thinking to myself, why can't I just be present? Why does this feel so damn hard? I will tell you this. Back then, I judged myself for it because I literally thought something was wrong with me. But looking back now, nothing was wrong. No, my body was simply overwhelmed. And instead of trying to fix that, I was trying to force myself to feel normal. And this is why I want you to pause for a second, my friend. Because if you're in that space right now where you don't recognize yourself, I want to gently offer you something different. Instead of asking yourself, how do I get back to who I was? Try asking this. What is my body experiencing right now in this moment? And sit with that for a second. Not to fix it, not to judge the feeling. Just notice the feeling in your body for a few seconds. Because here's something I had to learn the very hard way. You can't think your way back to yourself. You have to feel your way back. And that happens very slowly, very gently. Now, I know that sounds simple, but in real everyday life, it looks like this. You wake up in the morning, and instead of automatically grabbing your phone immediately, just sit on your bed for 10 seconds and simply notice, oh, my chest feels tight. That's it for 10 seconds. No fixing, right? Now, or you're having a hard moment during the day. And instead of pushing yourself through it, you can actually pause and say to yourself, something feels off right now. Or you're lying in bed at night and your mind is racing, right? Instead of forcing yourself to go to sleep, just place your hand on your chest and stay there for a minute. You can tell yourself, it is safe right now. These are very small things, right? But they matter because what you're doing in those moments is this. You're slowly showing your body, I'm here with you. And over time, doing that consistently, that changes everything, right? For me on my journey, I started doing this without even realizing it, right? At first, I would tell myself this is very pointless. Like, I would tell myself, how is this even helping anything? But I kept noticing, right? Little by little, micro moments. And something interesting over time started happening. I didn't suddenly feel like my old self again, no, but I started feeling less disconnected. And then one day, I caught myself laughing. I mean, like a real belly laugh. It wasn't forced. It wasn't automatic. And that feeling surprised me because I hadn't felt like that in a long time. And that's when I realized something very important. You don't find yourself again all at once. You meet yourself again in small moments. I mean, you meet yourself in the way you breathe, in the way you pause, in the way you stop fighting what you're feeling in the moment. So if you're in that space right now, my friend, where you're thinking, damn, I don't even recognize myself anymore, I want you to hear this very clearly. You're not gone. You're simply in transition. And your body is not working against you, my friend. Your body is simply asking for support, not perfection, not control, support. That's what your body is asking of you, my friend. So the next time you feel that unfamiliar feeling, that disconnect within your body, that heaviness in your chest, try this. I want you to pause and I want you to notice one thing in your body and simply stay with that feeling just for a few seconds. That's it. That alone is enough. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to get back to anything. No, you simply have to meet yourself right where you are. And I'll say this, if no one has told you this, my friend, I'll say this to you right now. There is nothing wrong with you. All right? You're just learning how to feel safe again. That's all. And that, my friend, takes time. That takes patience. That takes consistency. So be gentle with yourself today, even in the small moments, especially in the small moments. As always, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening. And I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Thank you.